G'day, my name is Charles MacKenzie and I'm an Australian tainted blood campaigner. On Wednesday evening, I put out a video and it was responded to by the president of the Australian Haemophilia Foundation, Gavin Finkelstein. That's Gavin there. And he responded to our Instagram page, Infected Blood Australia's Instagram page, and he wrote, in relation to the video, he's crazy and doesn't represent the bleeding disorders community. Well, Gavin Finkelstein represents the bleeding disorders community, and yet we've had 1,400 haemophilia deaths in Australia that I think you'd agree, considering the population was really no larger than 2,000 in the 1980s of haemophiliacs. That's a very bad return. And yet this man has never ever called for any kind of investigation, and he's made little or no efforts to attain financial assistance and compensation for families affected. And yet his organisation, the Australian Haemophilia Foundation, have had millions of dollars of public money and also received funding from CSL, who are implicated in this scandal. And he called me crazy. Well, I understand why he's doing that. He's defaming me because of the group that I represent. And he says that I don't represent people with bleeding disorders. Well, actually, I represent people that have come from his own organisation. People that used to be in his organisation have left in disgust, and they're with us now. We also have great leaders like the legend Greg Ball, who was the first Australian haemophiliac to go public about being infected with hepatitis C as a result of contaminated Australian Red Cross and CSL Factor 8. I take exception on their behalf to being slandered and told that I'm crazy. I'll tell you what's crazy. Gavin Finkelstein accepts funding from the people that advertise this magazine. It's the first time I've ever opened this. We've kept it in its plastic covered in original state for evidence purposes. I wasn't going to do it unless we got a documentary, but actually, after being defamed and told that I'm crazy, I'm going to do it now. And I want to do it for all the world to see. This is how they produce blood. Oh, excuse me. This is one of the perils of full candour and transparency, having problems getting it out. But anyway, here we are. Here is the original newspaper that the Australian Red Cross advertised in. This copy is from 1982. The year previous, this same gay publication had very responsibly reported about the threat of this new emerging disease that was afflicting gay men. That disease, here is the newspaper. In full candour, I'm going to flick through and show you. This is the publications. Here it is. There we have it. So, what is this? Early on, there we are. This is the publication. This is the advertisement right there that I hope you can see. And it says, situations vacant. Men and women volunteers to keep us in the red. So situations vacant. And 1 hour's work every 3 months. 1 hour's work every 3 months, commencing as soon as possible. Your chance as a blood donor to join a team of healthy people. Okay? Your chance as a blood donor. You'll give blood every 3 months. And it's written in this publication, which has male brothels. That's a very famous male brothel in Sydney. I actually used to work near it. And I actually used to work in a gay gymnasium. Splendid people. And I had met some of my best mates. And also, I got to understand that this has been exploitation. Something terrible's happened here in Australia. Why were gay men specifically recruited during the HIV crisis of the 1980s to donate blood? What was that about? And yet Gavin Finkelstein says that I'm crazy. What's crazy is that he's never called for an inquiry. 1,400 haemophiliacs have been killed by tainted blood. We've got tens of thousands of Australians that were infected with contaminated blood transfusions. And the Red Cross are advertising in a gay newspaper. I've got no problem with gay newspapers. I've got no problem with heterosexual sexual publications. But they didn't have advertisements of blood donors during the HIV crisis. So why were they advertising in things like this during the HIV crisis? That's what we want answers for. Gavin Finkelstein, you should never have defamed me. What you should have done is you should have stood up and rose up for haemophiliacs and championed their cause. Thank you, everybody. We need help down here. Please help us.